There are very few camcorders that tickle our fancy to the degree of the latest crop of Panasonic camcorders. The Panasonic HDC-HS900 is a prime example, and if you remember our review of last year's Panasonic HDC-HS700, the Christmas present at the bottom of our tree, our HD Editor's Choice pick of the year, the HS900 is the follow-up. But 2011 brings something fierce, something Canon. Yes, 2011 is the harbinger of the formidable Canon Vixia HF G10. With its daunting Pro HD sensor, it really makes us feel for this guy. But have no fear. The HDC HS900 is still a stellar camcorder, however not much has changed since last year. First off, we have expanded LCD real estate. It's a 3.5 incher and we've got more pixels. We've got a 460,000 dot display. Panasonic also gave the HS900 a 20x intelligent zoom versus last year's 18x intelligent zoom. We can now also shoot in iframe, and Panasonic did something that really delighted us. They actually migrated the DC jack from the battery bay to the outside of the camcorder. That's something we've been asking them to do for years, and they did it. Yeah. So aside from the aforementioned traits, plus a nice new LCD touchscreen interface with more sensitive screen, the HDC HS900 is relatively unchanged from last year's HDC HS700. Even the 3MOS imaging system is unchanged from last year. So what does that mean? We experienced the same exact video quality, that tasty 60p quality that we experienced last year. Panasonic brought it this year as well. And as usual, Panasonic has some of the best manual controls on the market. We have full iris control. We have focus, white balance with a manual white balance that works very effectively, and we also have shutter speed that we can dial down or dial up depending on the shooting situations. And the best part of this camera is the buttery lens control ring. It is so smooth that it's like taking a trip down a slip and slide that's slathered in country crock. Panasonic also gives us a stellar built-in microphone with plenty of audio options. There's 5.1 channel surround sound. We now have stereo sound. There's also bass boost, so we could boost the bass up to 6 decibels. We have a focus mic and a zoom mic. So the Panasonic HDC HS900 is one of the most advanced when it comes to audio solutions. There's also a cold shoe on top, and we've got a mic jack hanging out right around the corner. Of course, Panasonic gives us intelligent auto mode, which allows the camera to basically go into autopilot for gain, shutter, exposure, etc. And of course, we also cannot talk about a Panasonic camcorder without mentioning optical image stabilization. The Panasonic HDC HS900 has hybrid OIS compared to last year's Power OIS. We will say this is probably the best OIS in the business. So let me give you a bit of an InfoSync world diagnosis here. We've got the Panasonic HDC HS900. It has a larger LCD, better pixel count, and it's got a much improved interface. Made shooting a lot better. It has an even better OIS system, if you can imagine that, and it's got a slightly larger intelligent zoom, but everything else on this camcorder is characteristic of the HDC HS700 from last year. So where does that put you? Well, let's break it down. If you could find an HS700 for cheaper online, we say go for it. Image quality, manual controls, overall performance of this camera is almost identical to the HDC HS700. Also, you could save a little more by going with the TM700, which has 32 gigabytes of internal memory. Now, the HDC HS900 has 220 gigabyte hard drive, and it also has an SD, SDHC, SDXC card slot. Of course, there's also the TM900 with 32 gigabytes of internal flash memory, and that will save you some cash as well. But then Panasonic's going all 3D on you because they want you to link up to their Viera TVs and party. Well, I'll tell you something. The HDC SDT750 is basically the same thing as the HS700. All of these cameras will give you the same image quality. If that wasn't confusing enough, I'm going to throw another stick in your spokes. The Canon Vixia HF G10 is on the rise. This is setting up to be one of the most exciting camcorders within the span of 5 years. We're going to have one of the first reviews on that camcorder coming up very soon. So before you make a decision on the HS900, which is a fantastic camcorder, hands down, wait for our G10 review, because that's going to be the deciding factor in this race. As always, go to infosyncworld.com for the entire review on the Panasonic HDC-HS900, tons of video samples, image samples, and further in-depth analysis. But for now, this is Mike Perlman signing out for InfoSync World.